All right, it is 6 o'clock and I'd like to open up our city council meeting for Monday, September 16th, 2024. I ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Evans, would you like to do the invocation?
Sure. Father God, as we come here today, we want to say thank you for bringing us all together.
Yes, Lord.
We have decisions to make, Father God, and you know what's in our heart and what's on our mind.
Yes, Lord.
Bless those that came out here tonight.
Yes.
Bless those that's on their way here.
Yes, Lord.
Give someone a desire to understand, Lord, the things that you have planned for them, and give those that's sitting up here the mind of their own to make decisions, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
We don't sit just to sit on our own, Father God. Father God, we make decisions that you have put into our heart, on our mind.
Yes.
So we have to do things decent and in order,
Yes,
Father
Lord.
God. This is my prayer. I pray in Jesus' name. I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Alderman.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, roll call.
Alderman Jackson.
Let the record show that Alderman Jackson is out on vacation and will not be in attendance.
Alderman Coleman.
Present.
Alderman Evans.
Here.
Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
Present.
All right, omnibus vote agenda,
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Allen.
can I get a motion to approve 5-1 and 5-2 and put 5-3 in the regular agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman January, that the omnibus vote agenda 5-1 and 5-2 be passed as presented, and 5-3 be placed in the regular agenda. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
No.
Okay, motion carried. Public comment.
Elder Faye.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening
Good
to
evening.
our mayor and his cabinet. We thank God for being here today. We're here again to talk about Pastor Debbie's sign. And we appreciate you bringing this before your panel for this. And we thank God that you're going to give her her sign because she has worked very diligently and very hard for this community. And not only here, but in Zion and all over the region. She have worked for the people and have helped a lot of people. And we are praying that you all will give her her sign and we will see it out there on the street. I really appreciate you all and I thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Amen.
Thank you. Alderman, as you give that, what's the next person's name that's on there? Ms. Richards?
I didn't know whether or not I was supposed to come up or not, but I wanted to say thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I just wanted to say a little bit about my little North Chicago stay. I was born in North Chicago, 1950. Lived at 1723 Wright Avenue in North Chicago in the urban renewal. Born at St. Therese Hospital. In 1955, my parents built a house right there at 20th and Lewis. I attended Lindbergh School and graduated Lindbergh School and then went to South Neal Jr. and graduated from North Chicago Community High School. I retained our residence at 2016 Lewis after the passing of my mother and father, Reverend Jesse and Thelma Wallace, and established a real estate office at that location in 2006, where I sold many, many homes to most of the people here in the area. Sold to businesses and more. Besides that, I have had multiple contributions to the city of North Chicago. I worked with the community high school in the mentorship program. I was influential in helping to bring in a major medical center and help them with the Sheridan Road project. Also, I did a lot of work with the children. That's one thing that I did want to say. I helped the children for decades and did several mentorship programs, as well as teaching them to sing and more from all around. I lived at 1415 Elizabeth, North Chicago for several decades. My home was a hub for raising up good, outstanding youth in this community. So I just want you to know what all this means to me, and it would be a privilege and an honor to have my name placed on the street sign at 20th and Lewis Avenue. That's all. God bless you all.
Also, just to let you know, if there's anyone else, I know that some had came up and signed as we were completing this. If someone hasn't had an opportunity to sign in, you still have that opportunity, and I'm going to grant that opportunity to you. So I hope everyone that wishes to speak has signed in. Okay. All right.
Robert Richards.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I really appreciate the opportunity to stand before you this evening. And I guess most everything has already been said in our last meeting. However, I was sitting there thinking, in terms of objectivity and subjectivity. Now, I looked at the 10th Amendment, and anything that doesn't refer to the Constitution is reverted back to the states. And then the states leave certain things down to the local government. So in objectivity, as I look at it, so many others have had the same privilege to have their names on the street signs. So I don't see any, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not a politician, of course. I don't see anything to object person in good standing in the city. The house was there before this building was here. I remember that as a young man. So in objectivity, I don't see anything illegal or wrongful or driving without license, doing things in the city that's not conducive to the welfare of the people. Then it comes down to subjectivity. Subjectivity is personal, emotional, and feelings. And I believe by faith here that we're not going to have that. I just don't see any reason why we can't do that, seeing that we see so many signs already. So tell me, I would have to look at it objectively. What reason would we have to say no? So leave objectivity and go to subjectivity, which says there's emotions and feelings that should not be on the council floor. And so I really wanted to say that afterward or whatever, but since you put me up first, I have to point it in that direction. And so I thank you for giving me an opportunity to say something. And I really hope and pray that you go ahead and vote this into fruition. It would say a lot for our city and for the people, because many people spoke at our last meeting. And I do believe in the will of the people. And many people spoke at our last meeting. So I'm going to go along the line of the people have spoken. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I pray that all comes out well.
Claire Dietz.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Dietz, and I'm here just to introduce myself as the new community organizer with the Democracy in Action program at Mano a Mano. I'm working especially a lot on getting the word out about the upcoming school board elections. And so I just want to introduce myself and say hi.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not sure if this says Tanya Dora. Tanya, okay, sorry.
Okay, Lord have me decrease. Okay, my name is Tanya Jarrett. I'm a resident here at North Chicago. My parents, I'm born and raised here. I grew up at 2024 Harvey. My parents helped establish North Chicago, the youth center for the Flames. I was the first cheerleader on the Sparks. But I'm here because I'm a resident at Brookstone by Coles. And it's been a lot of violence over there. And I'm working to try to get our clubhouse open to where the residents will have somewhere to coincide as mighty men of valor, virtuous women, for our young children. I've been talking with Bobby Allen. I got on Carl, he gave me Bobby's number. So, to where we could get some kind of program going on. I have talked with the Ann Mound Foundation, Jamal Pope, he's a Black mentor for the young men. I'm trying to get them to get to where they can have college-bound outreach, to where they can have a future. They don't have to be subject to selling drugs or into sports. We have a lot of Black children that's poets, artists. They just not into sports. You know, my son was violently murdered, assassinated in Waukegan on Thanksgiving 2022. My baby son, I'm a mother of 5. My baby was 20. He didn't sell no drugs. He graduated from high school. He wasn't no gangbanger. He wasn't none of that. Because I stood on that. I lived that life for them. So I'm animate with I've been talking to all of the young babies out there. They know me as Miss T. We need that clubhouse open to where they can have an outlet. We have a lot of Black children that are here, and we need to offer them something more than what they see. We have businessmen in North Chicago. I need to see you guys reaching out to these people, because this is our future. This is our future. I don't know if you ever thought Rockingham, I went to school with your daughter at Carmel. So I know Julie, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you ever thought when you was young, you was gonna be the mayor, but hey, there you go, you sit, that was God's blessing. You know what I'm saying? So we need to give these people, our young men, mighty men of valor and virtuous women, an opportunity to know that they have a better life than out just in North Chicago. A lot of the children in my hood, they don't go out of the 4 walls. And it's sad. It is really, really sad. I helped them get into the Flames football last year. I didn't know.
Ms. T, you're gonna have to wrap it up. It's a
Wrap
3-minute.
it up.
It's a 3-minute limit, so,
Oh, a 3-minute limit.
yes,
What the
yes.
heck?
But
Oh,
but
that's
finish
okay.
up.
Don't
Just
worry about it.
Just finish, okay. But I will say in regards to that, because I want to make a comment.
Right.
I know that Alderman Allen and myself and our chief of staff have been working with Brookstone, because we know of the things that are going on in that
Right.
complex.
Mhm.
So just to let you know, we are working with the
I'll be
management
honest about
company.
that. But the
And
management
that's
is not
one of the
doing
things I
nothing.
think we need to do is to open that clubhouse up. Just what you said, to allow
They need
those,
children to do something. They need somewhere where they can go, where they are not hanging out.
I
A
understand.
lot of them not doing drugs. They just want somewhere to talk with each other.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so
Okay.
we will continue to work to bring
Okay.
that about.
Ms. Tanya,
Also, do you have her number?
No, I got a
Yeah,
number.
you got my number.
Okay, she,
But
okay.
also we have a prayer walk tomorrow.
I know. I
Okay.
just said it. Everybody there. Hey, I'm-
Okay, okay, all right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rayon Edwards.
Well, Miss Jarrett, they ain't gonna tell you a lot of things, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, okay? It ain't nothing they can do with that management company over there. That's the problem with us letting people come into our community and invest. And so it disgusts me and it disappoints me that this resident had to call another alderman to understand who her alderman was. This is what I say to you guys. We only see y'all when it's election time. That's the only time we feel like we are important and worthy of a handshake. I should never have to call nobody to ask who my alderman is. And since I'm talking about that tonight, I'm gonna talk about mine a little bit since he's finally here. All of the mess that you into over there at Foss Park, I need your attention to Harvey, where I stay at. Cause it's party every night by people that don't even live there. You did all of this campaigning about change in North Chicago, sir. I haven't seen you since I helped you get some votes, and I don't appreciate that. Not at all. That I got to take time on my day to come up here to address you. You talk about everything but your ward and what you should be doing over there to make it better. Because we hurting over there. We deprived. Have you came and looked at some of those complexes over there and how they look? Have you talked to any landlord down there on the 1,400 seat block? You follow me on social media. Did you know that me and one of the residents had a gun pulled to our face? Did you call me to ask me how I was doing? You didn't. You know why? Because you got your nose somewhere where it shouldn't belong. You ain't gonna never sit where he's sitting there doing that. It's an impossible task, sir. So I'm saying to all you aldermen, damn this election, because it's gonna be many more after that. Right now, we hurt. And so if the city and Foss Park get up off their backs and figure out how to work together, and the school district, maybe those babies over there off of 14th Street will have somewhere to go. But we always talking about what we doing. We don't want to do what y'all want us to do. It's time for y'all to sit us at the table and listen to what we got to say and include us in this process. That's how it works. Y'all not the one that's living in these communities. Y'all don't hear what we hear. You don't stress like we stress. Y'all getting a nice little piece of change and the best insurance to come here twice a month and do absolutely nothing. And I'm sorry to you, Mayor, because I used to blame you about a lot of things, but now I understand how it works. If you got an incompetent ass team, you ain't gonna never get nothing done. So we got to do better, y'all. And that's real talk. Mr. Evans, I appreciate you. Because the one thing I will say about you, I'm gonna see you. You gonna talk to people. When people call you, you call them back and you address them as such. So thank you for that. That is what you call public service. And if y'all asking for our vote, today I'm asking y'all to give us some public service. Please. I'll be back. I ain't got nothing but time. I make this my business. Because y'all talking about black folk, that's what we always hear, black folk, black folk, black folks. I don't see no damn black folks mentoring none of these babies out here. So where's the future for them? Who's gonna sit where you sitting at? And how long are y'all gonna sit in these seats and hold on to them? Even a champion know when to pass the torch. It's time to move out the way and let new brass come on in. Thank y'all, and y'all have an amazing night.
Thank you.
Hardy Lewis.
Blessing to everyone. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Debbie Richard. We have all heard of her accomplishment. And everyone I seen that came in greeted her with a smile, a hug, or whatever. It's some form of gratitude. So this shows me that already you're honoring her. But let's look at something a little more profound. What has she done for each of you? Point one, she took the children in and she tried to give them some moral fiber in order so that when they come out, they're not thinking about stealing and killing. They're thinking about working and sharing. Point two, when she sells these houses, these are not going to ruffians. They're going to people that's going to help anchor your community. Because once you buy a house, you become anchored in that. So she got good people coming in. She got those good people helping to teach other children, and not just other children, but other adults. So she's making your community safer so that you can look out your window, sit on your porch, mow your grass in the backyard without all the riffraffs. Yes, there is riffraffs in many different neighborhoods. When I was coming up, what halted me from becoming a gangbanger, for one, we had so many different opportunities. We had more opportunity than a gang could offer us. We had jobs, summer job programs, and all the things that's necessary to keep your mind and imagination busy so that you will not fall victim to the praise of the gang. She is making your community safer, your house safer, your children safer, your schools safer. She have done a lot, not just for North Chicago, but for other areas. But she came back to where her heart at, and that's here. She helped in the only way that she can. She give her heart to everyone. And I thank you for allowing me to speak. Bless you all.
Tina Albright.
Hi, I want to thank the Lord for Lord Jesus for all of us here. I've been knowing Miss Richards first lady for 2.5 years. When I first came to that church, I was in my addiction. You know, she helped me do it. She helped me with my kids, behavior. She was there for me like a mother. She made sure I always came to church. When I didn't come to church, she'd call like, "Where you at?" And then I remember like a year ago, she had show us how to buy houses and rent houses. She had one of them at her workshop. I think she do more for a lot of people, and she want people to come to church. It's just these people don't want to come, but I think she deserves it. She been there for me, and she a beautiful lady inside out, and I think she deserves it. And I think by hearing what he's saying, she did more than all y'all for the country, this state. But she been doing good, so please give her that. In the name of Jesus' name.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's all. All right, very good, very good. Moving into our regular agenda, and going into regular agenda is 5-3, approval honorable roadway Debbie Richards located at the corner of 20th Street and Lewis Avenue.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like. I would like to I would like to put 5-3. The honorable roadway into committee.
I'll second that. Okay. At this time, there's a motion to move 5-3 back into committee. And there's a motion and a second. There was motion by Evans, second by Alderman Coleman. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Allen,
No.
Alderman Smith,
No.
Alderman Murphy. Aye. Alderman January,
No.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
It's tied.
And I'll vote aye. So motion carried. All right, 7-1, consideration and approval of the FY 2023 audit, Lauterbach presentation.
Mayor Rockham,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve of fiscal year 2023 audit Lockerbot presentation as presented.
Is there,
Second.
it's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Murphy, that 7-1.
She got it.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to
yeah,
present on.
Yeah, I gotta have a motion in a second, then I'm gonna bring her up. Okay, all right, just, yeah, take it easy, I got you. There's a motion by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Murphy, that 7-1 be passed as presented, but at this time, I'd like to have Lauterbach come up and do your presentations. This is a motion be passed, right? Yes, right?
I mean, you've made it a motion. It's not inappropriate. It does not have to be. It is a presentation on your audit that Lauterbach's gonna
Yeah.
be giving, but it's fine.
Okay,
All right.
all yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Courtney Moore. I am one of the audit principals at Lauterbach and Amen, and I'm here to present the April 30th, 2023 audited financial statements. Before I get started, I did want to say a huge thank you to Tawanda and her team for all their hard work in getting everything pulled together for the audit. It is a group effort, so we do thank everybody for all their help in getting everything to where it is today. The purpose of an audit is for us to perform various tests and procedures on your financial statements to ultimately form an opinion. We did give the city an unmodified opinion. It is also known as a clean opinion. It is the highest opinion that we can give. It states that the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects, and we can rely on the internal control environment of the organization. I did want to touch on just a few key financial highlights for the year. As a reminder, this is as of April 30th, 2023, so last year's numbers. Your general fund, which was your overall operating fund, ended in a fund balance of about $20 million. Of this 20 million, about 730,000 of it is considered non-spendable, and the remaining amount is considered unrestricted and can be used to meet the future need of the city as you deem fit. This was an increase from last year, and this increase was about $5.6 million. The other fund I wanted to touch on was your water, sewer, and refuse fund. Your total net position here was about $23.6 million. Of that 23.6, about 15.2 is considered your investment in capital assets, which are any of the assets that your city owns, less any related accumulated depreciation. And the remaining 8.3 is considered unrestricted to meet the future needs of the organization. Past the financial statements, we have the notes to the financial statements, which really explain everything and anything you may need to know about the audit. But it is really kind of the meat and bones, and it does take up a majority of the audit as you have in front of you. The other bound document that is required to be furnished from our audit is something called the management letter. These are our recommendations of any policies, procedures, or best practices that would have arisen from our audit process. A couple things that I did want to touch on. So GASB is essentially the governing board for the way your financial statements are supposed to be presented. And they did come out with a couple new statements that are required to be implemented over the next couple of years. So we do have those in your management letter, and we will work with the city to get them implemented as necessary. And if you haven't read through the management letter, I do highly recommend doing so because there are a few best practices in there, including timesheet approval, procurement policy, and credit card procedures.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on the audit report, the audit process, or anything else of the like.
Are there any questions? Alderman Smith?
Good evening, good report. Just a quick question. Does this have a bearing on our credit rating?
Yes, the audit is required to be submitted to the county and to your credit
rating agency as well. So they do review your credit rating based on your audit, findings.
And based on your professional opinion, how does it look?
So I can't give an opinion on what your credit would look like, but I can say that we do give an unmodified opinion on your financial statements.
Okay, what is that unmodified opinion?
Right.
It means that they're presented fairly in all material respects.
So, if I can, Mr. Mayor, so
Sure.
Alderman Smith, myself and Tawanda are communications with our bondholders, and we do submit this to them. Once it's been approved by council, it's gonna be submitted to them.
And the fact that you came out with a clean audit means that there's no deficiencies
Correct.
Right.
that have been made in this audit. So if we're gonna give it to the, for the bonds, it would come out that we're doing everything properly. Correct?
Correct.
Are there any other questions? I would suggest, anyone, please, go over your, go over the audit, but also the management letter. So those are the ones that we really need to try to clean up on and again, make sure that even through the management letters are corrections. Alderman January.
Confused by a statement that's been made across here. In the management letter, you say that there are recommendations. So obviously, when there's recommendations in a management letter, there are some deficiencies that were found.
So
For you to say that there were none, I just don't get that.
So the management letter is outlining policies, procedures, and best practices. When it comes to the audit report, in our opinion, we're providing an opinion on the way your financial statements are presented. So the way that they're presented in the audit report, your numbers are presented fairly and we can rely on them. Just because we have an unmodified opinion doesn't mean we don't have suggestions and recommendations in the management letter.
Am I understanding her correct?
That is correct. So the Park District, as an example, we have a clean audit as well. And we have one of these as well. And there's typically one or two things that they suggest that you make. It's very
There's
common.
a lot here.
Yeah.
There's been some deficiencies found
Yes.
because there are recommendations. Thank you.
No, well, I have to say, Alderman, though, in the audit, as our numbers go and as they look through and find to make sure that everything is in the proper place, everything has been, they were able to find every dollar, every penny that they need to go and ask for. It's in this audit and it's done correctly. And I'll just say from Tawanda and all of her staff, and I think even in HR and throughout our departments, they have put the numbers correctly. In this, they're saying, hey, there's some things we can do that will help to, no, it's not deficient. I won't hold you to that. I won't hold you to that, but I'm just saying there's recommendations that the city should be able to do to correct some of our, whether it's credit cards or other things. Okay. And you're twisting words also, and I'm not gonna let you sit there and say it. Alderman Smith.
For clarification for me, the audit gave us, for an example, excuse me.
Tawanda, you wanna stick around too? Sure.
All right, so to my understanding, it's like we got an A on our report, but you're saying here's some recommendations if you want to get an A+, in essence, correct?
That's a good way to put it.
All right, all right, I'm good.
Tawanda, do you want to make any, because you helped to.
Yes, so, sorry, I hope you guys can hear me. Hi, Alderman January, just to confirm, what she's saying is correct. Generally, you're gonna always have some type of recommendations. Like you said, there's some things out here that it's not even time for us to implement yet, but it will come up in the future within the next couple years. So if she finds something where we need to do better on or tighten up on, that's basically what the recommendations are. That's basically all it is. Yeah, but so when you space
well, I can't remember your exact term that you were utilizing when you said deficiencies. It's not deficiencies, it's according to how the audit is prepared. So that's the difference. Or the data that's in the audit. These are recommendations. It's not, if there was deficiencies, it would be listed different. It wouldn't be under
And we
recommendations.
wouldn't have a clean audit.
Right, it would be different.
Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Mayor,
Alderman Evans.
with this audit that you're covering, I know it's not fully completed, right? As far as, as far as making changes and things, right?
Yeah, we still need to,
What I'm gonna say is that we get these things prior to the city council.
Right.
So are you able to speak to someone outside of the city council? Because apparently, now I'm not speaking for everybody. Apparently, everybody's not looking at this stuff on time. Because for us to sit up here and question you as you come in to present something is not right on our behalf. Because if we had questions for you, we can go straight to Tawanda, which is our city comptroller. That, we could discuss it with her if we have a problem with this. But sometimes as people come in to our city council and get questioned, don't take it that this is the way this goes for our whole city council. We have individuals that does things for the individual purposes. But please, keep doing what you're doing, and I like what you have written up, and I'll continue to read what you give us. All right? Thank you, man.
All right. I was informed by our city attorney that we've actually already passed the audit.
No,
Or
no.
does
So
it needs to be passed at this point?
you're really, when you authorize the audit to proceed, that was kind of, this is now the culmination of it.
Okay.
You don't need to formally vote on it, like I said.
Okay.
You can, you're really voting to just accept it. You're not
Right.
voting to approve it because it is what it is. It's done pursuant to the Gatsby standards, as was mentioned. And those are general principles of accounting, used by every community that I'm aware of. So.
They just vote on it now.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it's fine. I agree. So if there's no other questions, roll call.
The truth.
I make a motion that we,
Except.
Well, there's a
Accept it.
motion on the floor, so it does need to be withdrawn. And I think the motion was to approve, which is how it was presented.
Okay.
But it's really, you're just accepting.
To accept the audit.
accept the audit report.
Okay,
So
can
therefore,
so can you
First,
amend,
need to either amend or.
can you amend your motion to
Right.
accept the audit?
Therefore, I will amend 7-1 to accept of fiscal year 2023 audit. Lauterberg presentation as is.
Second.
And you will amend your second. Okay, so well, it was actually by.
I
Murphy.
am second, so
Yep,
I'll,
yep,
I'll
yep.
accept the amendment as
Yes,
stated.
okay, so it's,
I'll second the amendment as stated.
it's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Murphy to accept the, Lauterbach audit that was presented. Are there any? No. Roll call.
Alderman Allen,
Aye.
Alderman Smith, Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January. Alderman Coleman,
Recuse.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. All right, 7-2, consideration and approval, resolution of support and local cost share not to exceed the amount of $68,250 for, reconnecting communities pilot program.
Mayor Rakim,
Alderman Evans.
I would like to approve the resolution of support and local costs share not to exceed amount of $68,250 for reconnecting communities pilot program.
Second.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Allen, that 7-2 be passed as presented. Are there questions? Steve, go right ahead.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So I've been here before in front of you, seeking your support and funding if we get a grant award for the Reconnecting Communities. What it is in front of you, I passed out an exhibit that shows the Sheridan Road corridor. It goes from the southern city boundaries all the way up through Waukegan, up to Blanchard Road. This is two communities partnering together. The city of Waukegan is the lead agency, not the city of North Chicago. And we're partnering together to pursue funding for a feasibility study so we can reconstruct that whole entire corridor. This is a long-term vision. It's not going to happen overnight. We're talking something that'll, if we're successful, it's going to be funded. It's in like 10 years or so, we're going to start building things. This is just a feasibility study to see if it is a worthwhile project that's worthy of additional federal funding and support. As you can see on there, a lot of it is it's to improve safety along the corridor, to improve how people transverse and cross over the corridor. So there's everything from bike path improvements to sidewalk improvements, streetscape improvements up and down throughout the corridor, parking improvements, improved access over to the Metro train stations in both Waukegan and in North Chicago. So there's a lot of things that we're seeking to do with this project. And with that, if you have any questions.
Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Alderman Coleman.
Steve, just a quick question. What is it's in the second ward. I had a vision of redoing Sheridan Road, 25 million. That's what I want the project to be. How close is this project to 25 million?
To 25 million?
When you're all done.
If I had to say this whole corridor, you're talking in excess of $100 million.
All right, I most definitely support that. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question.
Alderman Evans.
On this map that you've given us, Steve, I know when the guys came in to talk about fixing Sheridan Road, and they indicated that on Sheridan Road, it was gonna be a 2-lane. A little bit where the outside lane where you can just put, it's gonna be much smaller as you end up between 18th and 17th Street.
Okay.
On here, it doesn't show that.
I think what they're referring to could be they're looking at a road diet to try in order to neck the road down and to slow traffic down to make it safer for people. That's something that this project would accomplish.
Something that this.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Alderman January.
I just wanted to make sure I heard correct. This is a grant program?
Correct. We're pursuing a grant. We currently have about $500,000 in grant funding that we've already received. And in order to complete the whole feasibility study, it's estimated to cost about $1.1 million.
Okay,
So
and it's the grant we're going out for this?
Yes, we're seeking another $500,000 in grant funding.
Treasurer, do we get the other amount that he claims? Grant money?
It's a reimbursement grant, Alderman.
Which grant money?
He said that we had already received some grant money for
That
this.
is correct. You've received notification. It's $500,000.
Yeah, we did get a $500,000 disbursement from the state recently.
We did.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, Roll call.
Alderman Smith. Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Alderman January.
Aye.
Alderman Coleman.
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7-3, city bills.
Mayor Rockingham,
Alderman Evans. Oh, excuse me, Alderman Allen.
I make a motion to approve the city bills for $1,390,176.13 when funds come available.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Allen, second by Alderman Smith, that the city bills be paid as presented. Are there questions on the bills? Alderman January?
Good evening.
Good evening again, Alderman.
My usual questions, do we have sufficient funds in, I believe it's the general, sufficient funds to pay the bills?
Yes, we do. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Will the checks be cut and sent?
We do have sufficient funds in the account to pay the bills. The checks will be cut on tomorrow and mailed on Wednesday.
Okay, and then what's the amount in the water fund that's liquid?
The amount that's liquid as of September 12th was $5,063,163.62.
I'm sorry,
$5,063,163.62.
Okay, and then the unliquefied?
The unliquid amount in the water fund is $1,201,112.75, and that was as of market close today.
Thank you. And then I do have an additional question.
Yes.
For the bill run, is it all coming out of the general fund to pay these? Or is there still an amount coming out of the water fund to pay some of these bills?
Yes, there's still portions coming out of the water fund for the water portion, process of the bills.
Do we know what that amount is? Because I
Yeah,
thought we
it's-
had stopped that.
Well, no, we still pay out for water related items out of the water fund. So it's $1,023,177.03. So we stopped the water transfers into general. And some of the items that would be coming out of water fund, which I believe the biggest one on there is the 16th and Kimball Street, the water main replacement that they're doing there. That was $750,000 by itself for this bill run. But yeah, it's only water related projects that's coming out of the water fund. We're not doing any transfers any longer.
But everything else paying the bills is coming from the general.
From whatever fund it should be paid out of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Murphy. Unfortunately, no. For the same reason as I've stated in the past, I have reason to believe that one or more of the aldermanic expense reimbursements on the bill run is campaign related rather than city business. Okay, Alderman January.
No.
Alderman Coleman.
No.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith. Mayor.
Aye. Motion carried. All right, miscellaneous business. Anything under miscellaneous business?
I got something, Mayor.
Alderman Evans.
How about this? The Third Ward is having a meeting, Third Ward meeting, I'm letting everybody know in September, about October 19th. It will be held October 19th at 2 p.m. at Falls Park Community Center. After that meeting, the Third Ward will hold a fashion show after that meeting. And the first place winner will be $400, second place $300, and third place is $200. All you have to do is contact Alderman Evans or sign in before 3 p.m. But hopefully everyone comes out for that Third Ward meeting because we're gonna have staff out there and you can get more know about our city, about things that is really going on in our city. And we do have this fashion show for entertainment afterwards. So please come out, enjoy yourselves. And that will be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So please come out and we will have flyers right outside the door. Thank you.
Mayor. Just want to know, I got
Alderman Allen.
Yeah, a fourth ward meeting, on, September 28th at 11 a.m. is right here in the city council. September 28th at 11 a.m. at city council. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mayor,
Alderman Smith.
I will be giving a fishing trip for the citizens of North Chicago, September the 28th, in conjunction, partnering with the Falls Park District. We will be leaving from the Falls Park parking lot at 9:15, returning at approximately 5 p.m. We'll be going to Wadsworth to Black's Academy for a day of fishing. Food will be included. If you need more details, feel free to contact me, and there will be flyers posted in the hallway. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Coleman.
I'll be hosting a second ward, meeting and a second ward meeting. And that's the Saturday, the 27th, and it'll be outdoors. I know a lot of the officials will be at IML, but it's a small community, ward meeting is what it is, the 21st.
The 21st?
21st, yes, 21st, this Saturday, yes, sir.
And where's it gonna be at?
It will be on the 15th and, Greenfield. I'm sorry, 16th in Greenfield, between 16th and 17th in Greenfield.
What time?
It will start at 11. And, we'll have, light refreshments will be served. Chips and hot dogs or something.
Okay, so that's 16th at Greenfield, 11 o'clock, second ward meeting. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone else? Okay, we do have one other presentation that I wanted to bring up, and that is Dr. Price, but Ms. Hall is not here, is she?
No, she was unable to make it. so
Okay, I wanted to
I'm
make
sure
sure.
she'll be at the next meeting, so.
We want to introduce her also.
Yes.
So at this time, I'd like to bring up Dr. Price, District 187 Supervisor. Superintendent.
Supervisor, Superintendent.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, I really appreciate your time this evening, and especially for your ongoing support of our school district and our children. Just as a small token of the school district's appreciation, I brought with me a North Lake County Conference faculty pass for every member of the council, so that you can attend with a guest any of our athletic events, whether we're hosting or we are away. So, Mr. Mayor, with your permission, may I give those to the clerk?
You can pass, hand them to the treasurer and he can pass them around. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you. I appreciate time on tonight's agenda. I'm happy to answer any questions about my presentation when I'm done. I'm here to talk this evening about the Forstall redevelopment project. And we've got some posters outside on the easels there for you to take a look at our plans. And that project is now officially underway with an estimated completion in March of 2026 and an opening for our students in August of 2026. Total project cost is just about $72 million. $57.7 million will come from a Department of Defense grant to schools that are on military property. And the remainder will be provided by local matching dollars from the district. Today, I'd like to update the council on how the district plans to fund the $14.5 million match for this project. The school boards intend to fund $12.9 million with the sale of tax-exempt bonds. This bond sale will not raise property taxes for any home or business in North Chicago. It's really the most important point that I wanted to make. As you start to hear about the school district selling bonds, that these bonds will not raise property taxes for any home or business in North Chicago. The district currently is servicing a group of bonds that mature in 2027. We pay about $1.2 million annually to service those existing bonds. We will sell new bonds, but maintain that $1.2 million annual payment, therefore not increasing the property tax burden to taxpayers. These are debt service extension-based bonds, otherwise referred to as DSEB bonds, and are not subject to referendum. And we will be well below our borrowing authority, which would currently be $1.6 million in payments, not in the amount borrowed. However, we've made a commitment to local and state leaders to not increase taxes for this project. The 20-year bonds will fund most of our local obligation, or approximately $13 million of the $14.5 million local contribution. The exact amount of the bonds will depend upon the timing of the sale and the bond market on that day. We believe, given current and likely conditions, that we can get about $12.9 million in bonds with that $1.2 million annual payment. We have already committed about $2 million in fund balance to this project. I'll just note that the school district has a very healthy fund balance with a reserve and cash reserves right now, and that $2 million has already been, of transfers to this project has already been factored in to our reserve rates that we've presented to our board. The board will have a series of hearings as required by law prior to the bond sale. That bond sale is estimated to be in January or February. These hearings are intended to gather any input from the community on the bond sale, and the next hearing will be scheduled for our October board meeting, where we'll also be having a hearing on the referendum relief bill that was passed in Springfield related to this project as well. Again, I want to emphasize these bonds will not result in increased taxes for North Chicago residents or businesses. Happy to take any questions or comments, sir.
Are there any questions?
Mr. Price,
Alderman Coleman,
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
go right ahead.
How you doing, Mr. Price? It's interesting that, it was allowed on school property. Now I get a pass. I appreciate it. And the second thing is, just some clarity on, what Senator Johnson just passed with the public hearing to expedite the service. Can you put that in simple terms for the people to understand? I just heard that you were taking these things out to hearing. You were even taking her bill out to public hearing. And the bill that was passed, I was under the impression that you didn't have to give a public hearing. Maybe I can give you my point, and then maybe you can better address the question. When I read the article that Senator Johnson had passed the public hearing for Forrestal, what I received from that was that this was something that the school district could do without informing the community. And now you're saying that you are going to inform the community. So I was honestly a little confused about that. So are we informing the community that we're spending their tax dollars on Forrestal, or are we not?
I'm a little bit confused on your question. I think we're mixing a couple of things, so let me try and address it. Your last question was, are we informing the community? Here I am, sir.
Okay,
And
let's
at every
start
board
with Senator.
meeting,
Hold on 1 second.
we of course inform the board and
Can
the
I clarify
community.
my question?
Please.
Okay, when I go to your board meeting, I'll let you talk. So, okay, so you gotta let me talk here. My question is, the bill that Senator Johnson passed, can you clarify that? Let's start there. Can you clarify what she went down there to do that pertained to public hearing?
Sure. So the bill that Senator Johnson sponsored in the Senate and Representative Mayfield sponsored in the House allowed the school district to move forward with the expenditure of local funds without a prior referendum. Typically, when building a new school building, we can do rehab projects without referendum, but when building a new school building, state code requires under most circumstances for a school district to go to referendum. In this project, we would not have been required to go to referendum because we could have allocated all of the local match, all of the $15 million to non-referendum expenses. We could have gone that route, which would have allowed us to move as quickly as possible. We're the first community to break ground on a school with this grant in our grant award class. We wanted to move quickly because our children deserve a new school. So we could have gone that route. No referendum, attribute the $15 million to non-referendum items like tearing down the old school, for example, paying architect fees. However, because of President Biden's IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, that bill that was passed by the federal government allows school districts, non-tax paying entities, to qualify for tax credits, tax rebates from the federal government, if you pay for energy reducing buildings, buildings that reduce energy costs and energy expenditures. Our new Forrestal School will be a net zero building. In other words, it will take in and produce as much energy as the building requires through a combination of geothermal wells and solar panels on the roof and over some covered parking. So it'll be a net zero building. So what we wanted to do is be able to attribute our $15 million to pay for the geothermal wells and the mechanical implements that we need to prove and to show that the district paid for those net zero and energy reducing components. When we do that, those expenses would have required a referendum. And so if we pay for those things, then we qualify for between $3 and $4 million in tax rebates that we will be able to use as a school district towards our next project, a next capital infusion into this community. So the legislation that Senator Johnson passed was the only way for us to do both things. First of all, to move forward quickly, get a new school building for our children in 2026, while also qualifying for $3 to $4 million in tax rebates from the federal government. So the legislation that Senator Johnson passed for us allows us to do both of those things. That was the only way to accomplish both of those objectives. Otherwise, we would have had to choose speed versus tax rebates. Now we get to do both. The legislation does require 2 public hearings. We've had one. We've got another one coming up at our October board meeting.
So what it did was it bypassed the referendum of telling the community, put it on a referendum is what you're saying. It bypassed that.
It bypassed the need for referendum if we chose to spend money on those internal components.
Okay. And I would just speak for my constituents. I know it's kind of hard to speak because it's taken over by the state, but I will say this. I always think that it's dangerous when we have taxation without representation. And I've said this for the last 10, 12 years, when we're not informing the community. We did that with the charter schools and some things before you got there, Mr. Price. And we're bypassing letting the community have an input. And with the school district being turned over to an elected school board, I am surprised that, we streamline this to get it all in. We'll have a full school board in 2027, but it seems like we're getting a rush job to get all this done early. But I will like to say that our children always deserve a good school. And I think that it's a great project. And I wish that all of our schools were rebuilt. And as much as we don't see eye to eye, I will say that you have done a heck of a job with the infrastructure at North Chicago High School and throughout the school. So I most definitely want to compliment you on that. The only thing that I had an issue with was informing the public, but I do think it's a good decision to get Forrestal up and running as soon as possible. All right. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Anyone else? Council? Let me just say, Dr. Price, I just want to say thank you. I know that it took a lot to put all this together. Like I say, from our state and from our federal side. And also, just the fact of being able to receive 57 million from the Navy to work this project. That is a lot to be able to take burden off of this community. To be able to take these bonds and to go out and acquire bonds and not to put it on our community's tax rolls. I commend you for that. We have to look at Forrestal School, where our children go that does not have adequate drinking water because there's lead in the lines. They do not have air conditioning. You had to close the school because it was so hot that the kids could not go to school. To be able to put a project like this together and knowing that if everything works out, our children at the next school year will be going into a brand new Forestall school. Again, I commend you, I commend the school board that, you know, the finance and also the, oversight board. You guys did a great job. I appreciate it. I know myself and Alderman Smith was at the groundbreaking, you know, Senator Durbin was there. Our state Senator Johnson was there. It just shows that, you know, District 187 is trying to look out for our children. Look across the street.
Right.
A new Neil math and science for our middle school, state of the art. And now we're gonna have another state of the art in our, you know, for our elementary school. So thank you. I appreciate it and keep up the good work.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. I just can't go without saying, when Senator Duckworth grills the Secretary of the Navy about housing issues in Halsey Village, it's because of your advocacy, along with Chair Hart. When the Secretary of the Navy visits Forestall Elementary School on the spur of the moment trip, it's because Congressman Schneider took him by the hand, literally, and forced him to come and see the conditions that our children were learning in. Senator Durbin's support, it just goes all the way up from local, state, and federal officials that have helped to really wrap their arms around this community and support this project, but more broadly, you know, issues that are important to this community, what we need to serve our families and children. So thank you for your role, Mr. Mayor, as a part of that process. Really appreciate it.
Alderman January?
Thank you, Mayor. Dr. Price, again, I cannot say enough as well. Thank you to the foresight, and to the city looking at Forestall. Yes, there was a lot to needs there, and things that needed to be brought up to date. And so I'm very thankful that we have this project. It is on federal property. So obviously we had to, you know, go through some loopholes with that and getting everybody on board. And I'm so thankful for your leadership in that and helping to gather all of the entities together and to work together so nicely. So again, kudos to you and your team for that. I do want to say though, I missed the groundbreaking because I was not notified in time to make adjustments in my schedule as a nurse to come to the groundbreaking. So I do apologize for not being there. Hopefully if there's ever anything in the future that goes on in my ward, in the 7th ward, that I'm giving proper notice. So that's the only thing I have to say that's kind of on the negative side. But again, kudos to your team and to the city for all the work that we've been doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Allen?
Oh, now, Dr. Price.
Sir.
All I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you on a job well done. I look around and see what's going on here at school. So that's all I can say.
Thank you, Alderman. Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Very good. And in regards to Halsey, just to let you know, we are working on that to make sure that those houses that are, as Senator Duckworth said, zombie houses, we're working very diligently to see those houses come down as soon as possible. So just
Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. All right. Good job. All right, real quick, just a couple of things I had under miscellaneous business. First of all, we held our Mexican Independence Day Parade over the weekend. I want to say very good job. Everything turned out quite well. They had a excellent parade. We had floats, we had cars, we had motorcycles, we had mariachi bands, we had horses, yes. And the event over in the field turned out quite well. And from my understanding, no incidences. Again, that was, kudos to that. And again, to the Latino and community and the Mexican Independence Day I know it runs from 15 to 15.
Mhm.
So we're going to be celebrating for a little while. So I think that's going to be great. Also, I wanted to let everyone know that there was from our comprehensive plan, we we put together a comprehensive plan that was passed through this council. And it was under close collaboration between the consultant, which was the Lakota Group, and our staff and many stakeholders here in the city of North Chicago and the residents that came out and spoke on that. We received notice from the American Planning Association Illinois chapter that North Chicago will be receiving from that comprehensive plan and be recognized with the Daniel Burnham Award. One of the higher awards that is given out throughout the state. We we will be receiving that award. I think it's down in Champaign on September 25th. Myself, Chief of Staff, and Taylor will be going down to accept it. So a very good kudos, because that comprehensive plan talks about the different approach of how that the plan will be put together. I think that it will also be utilizing things like the just putting together how our community will be brought, not only just in regards to rebranding, but also how the city will be with business and how our business entities will be brought in, and also through the residents. So we will be receiving that. And then also the last thing I wanted to mention is that from our infrastructure funding, that we have an opportunity to take advantage, and I have asked staff to go out and secure a environmental and climate justice community change grant program. I've asked staff to look into that with the possibility that we could receive $12.1 million for our lead line replacements and also some of our sewer line replacements. So it looks like as we look through that grant, it is a positive that the grant will be reimbursed 100% on that funding if we are awarded it. Everything looks at this time pretty good that we have an opportunity to receive it. Naturally, that is very competitive, but staff is out there to try to acquire that grant. I will let you know if that grant is received. This program will create also, just if it's awarded to us, local jobs and partnerships with different agencies, and also to be able to bring local businesses and also nonprofit to come in and help work on some of the projects that we will be doing as far as lead line replacements and also some of the water line replacements. So just want to let you know that that's in the works also. And then again, as Dr. Price said, the Forrestal School and its groundbreaking, and congratulations on that. So as we continue to move forward, I will try to keep you abreast of things that are happening from my side of the table also. All right. Hearing no other things under miscellaneous, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman January. The city council stand adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Lori, just let me know.
Good.
As we've been doing, I'm gonna ask upfront, since there's one item on the Human Resources Committee meeting agenda, which is the discussion of the Human Resources Department monthly report, which all of us received in our packets. Are there any questions or any items that you have questions on, or that you'd like to direct to Director Black? Okay, And if there are none, then, rather than just open and close the committee, we can just move on.
I will follow after Alderman Murphy with the same concept. Do anyone have any discussion regarding monthly reports for the Public Works, Water Department, or Engineering? Okay, none.
I'd like to open up Economic Development Planning and Zoning Committee, roll call.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Present. Alderman January. Sorry.
All right, we have three items on the agenda. The first one is discussion of Economic Development Planning Monthly Report. Any questions? All right, the second item, discussion of downtown TIF termination ordinance. Taylor.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the time this evening. This first item that I have before you tonight is the termination of the downtown TIF. This is the first TIF district for the city of North Chicago. It's been 23 years since that TIF district was established. It was established in 2000. And so per state statute, TIF districts last 23 years unless they're extended. And so last year was the final year of that TIF district. Since tax billing is in 1 year in the arrears, we are currently in the tax billing cycle for that final 23rd year of that TIF district. So this ordinance that's proposed for discussion and adoption by the city council is the formal termination of that TIF district. So it has reached its natural closure per the 23-year lifespan that it has. And it's time to button it up by terminating it through this ordinance. There's a special tax allocation fund as well that would be closed, and both of these would take effect December 31st of this year.
Question. Evans. Why are we closing these TIFs?
It's required by state law that a TIF is established for a maximum of 23 years. And so we've already reached the 23 years.
So you can't renew it?
There's an option to renew it, except that has basically already passed. The window or opportunity for that. It can only be extended for a 12-year period by a act of the General Assembly, the Illinois General Assembly. And so because we're basically 1 year after the real end of the TIF, because it was 23-year TIF. So 2023 was the 23rd year to request an extension to that TIF district. It should have been proposed to downstate before really November of 2023. So it's kind of a little bit too late at this point.
So now that we don't have the TIF anymore, how are we gonna go about as far as getting money for those for the districts?
So to clarify one point there is that this is only for one of the TIF districts. This is for the downtown TIF district. It's an area that's basically the Sheridan Road corridor from about 16th. And then it does extend down the Sheridan Road corridor down Foss Park Avenue all the way through to the Commonwealth industrial area. So it does not include the Sheridan Crossings TIF. That is a separate TIF district. So that one will still be open. And then it does not include the Skokie Valley or Skokie Highway TIF district, Route 41 district, which is on the west side of town. So both of those would remain open and this would not impact those. This would just be the one TIF district. Otherwise, to answer your question, we would have to seek alternate funding sources for any projects within that district. Yeah.
A question. Thank you. Who dropped the ball that we didn't get it renewed?
I don't know that's a drop the ball necessarily in it's a special act to extend the TIF district. So the default is they only last 23 years. When state legislators consider a extension request, it's typically the result of a specific item, perhaps like a project that's still ongoing and needs to be extended because of a significant delay or something like that. Or an external factor that's contributed. At the present, we just have not had a specific project or reason for extending it.
I'm gonna ask another question. So a project could have been created and then we could have got an extension?
I wouldn't be able to really answer that. It's ultimately downstate that determines whether it could or could not be.
I know they make the
extended.
final decision, but if we don't have nothing to present, then they can't give us a decision because we have nothing to present.
So you're saying like, why didn't we put our hat in the ring?
Our
just to see
downtown
if they
definitely
could?
needs some work.
One of the other components there is that it requires a unanimous approval by all the separate taxing districts. That would include the park district, that would include the school district, that would include the community college district. So all of them would have to agree to that extension. So they would be agreeing to 12 more years or up to 12 more years of not getting that tax increment dollars. So it would be quite the negotiation or discussion with those other taxing districts as well.
Moving forward, so now what you're saying, or let's say now we have this great idea what we want to do, so now we have to go find other money to make it happen.
Right, we will no longer have a special allocation fund for the TIF district that we could tap into going forward. Right.
Mr. Mayor.
I haven't. Go ahead, Autumn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm up, you know how I feel today. Chairman Smith, quick question. The Sheridan Road TIF district, how old is that? Oh, Sheridan Crossing. Weren't they created around the same time?
They were not the same time. Off the top of my head, I believe Sheridan Crossing was established sometime like 2007.
Those aren't enterprise districts?
That is not related to the enterprise district or enterprise zones.
Your predecessor before you said that we had the option of going enterprise or TIF. We couldn't do both at the same time. So we had relinquished our TIF status to get our enterprise status for Sheridan Crossing. And the only true TIF that we had was downtown. But you can't have a TIF and an enterprise.
We do have an enterprise zone established. I'm not sure the history of that you're referring to it, to be honest. We do have an enterprise zone. It's in collaboration with the city of Waukegan, and that's covers our entire jurisdiction.
So we can't have two. It can be TIF and enterprise too.
I am unaware of, I don't know if city attorney, if you've got any insight on that question as well, but I'm not aware of that.
You know what?
I'm not aware of that being an issue.
And
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
There is actually a provision, I'm not sure it prohibits you from having a TIF and an enterprise zone together. I don't have the provision ready to read. But there is some statutory control over how an enterprise zone and a TIF district interact, but I do believe they can still coexist with each other in the same geography.
Okay. And with the TIF district, you're saying you don't know the one on Sheridan Road, you don't know how long that's been in place?
I believe 2007. So
How many years?
2030 would be the expiration.
So one was formed after the other, the downtown was formed first?
Downtown was formed first, and then it actually included the area that's incorporated into Sheridan Crossing today. But Sheridan Crossing was kind of carved out of the downtown TIF to establish its own separate TIF district.
Oh.
In
okay.
2007.
All right. So that was carved out to form its own TIF district. Wow, okay, that's a new one on me, a TIF inside of a TIF. So that was in 2007.
Just to let you know, the reason we did that is because, once we took all the buildings down, the increments were lower. And so in order to, it made it more profitable and easier because now the value was less. So we made a TIF within that TIF for the Sheridan Crossing.
Can we create a TIF inside of the TIF for the downtown?
So it wouldn't be a TIF inside a TIF anymore because we're terminating the
it's too
existing
late.
one. But that, could be considered at a future time of a separate TIF district.
Okay, how do we go about that process? Because see, this is what's going on. That TIF district was important, obviously. That's where we're getting some options from, was being TIF, right? And don't we have another project that Steve just spoke about? Like $100 million project? That's not going to affect that?
That's a kind of initial exploratory phase for that. That's pursuing the kind of preliminary scope of that project. And so funding sources aren't necessarily identified for that, but certainly projects like that or similar to that, or even smaller in scale could have utilized TIF funds in the future, but we won't have that. Yeah, that's correct.
Have you talked to Steve?
Yes,
Okay, and this doesn't affect that at all?
this does not affect that particular project, no.
Okay. All right. That's it. And there's nothing we can do.
At this time, no.
Point of question for the attorney. Is there anything that we can do? We don't want to lose our TIF status.
Well, okay, you could create a new TIF district, but you'd have to go through the whole process.
Okay, and can we start that process? Does that need a vote to start?
You would need to go through a process to select the consultant who will help you prepare the necessary reports. There's, meetings that have to be held, public hearings. It's about a 3 to 6 month process, depending.
And that's just to put in an application, basically, to turn it into a TIF district. It's a 6-month process.
It's a self-created, the city has the authority to do it. It doesn't need to look to any other authority. It just needs to, initiate the process. Staff could certainly help with that. One question I have is, what was the last project in the downtown TIF that was TIF financed?
We still have an open fund, and so there's still projects coming out of that fund until December
Okay.
31st. I'll look through the comptroller, but the streetscaping, the street lighting was one of those recent
Yeah.
ones.
So you'll still be able to use the TIF money for existing projects. You can have contracts signed up and until December 31st, actually. And so long as there's money to cover those contracts in the TIF district, you can still do projects. But
So we need to
after
use that
that,
money up, right?
you can, yes.
How much money do we need to
But you
use
need,
up?
you need eligible projects.
Okay.
no problem.
So one of the things that we do is we have a TIF board meeting, and so we provide a report to them every year. Fiscal year 2023 is come up. At the beginning of, based off our audit, we have our audit at the end of fiscal year for the downtown TIF. Now, keep in mind, we also just recently paid off the bonds that was in the TIF. So a lot of the funds were ate up from the bond we paid off in 2022. So just keep that in mind. But the amount of projects that we have, we can, based off what we have the 16th and Kimball project, because a portion of that is in the downtown TIF. We're using money for that. So that's one of the projects. Like you said, the Sheridan Road Light Project was one. The Metro Station Remodel Project was one of the ones we're using TIF dollars for. The roof that we're doing at the water plant, that's also because if it has an effect on the entire city as a whole, we can use a certain amount of percentage that TIF dollars can be included to. So the $5 million project that we're doing to repair the roof down at the water plant, funds are coming from that. The Second and Main property project that we just recently acquired, we use funds from that as well to do that. Let me see what else is on
How
here.
much is left?
Once all of those projects done, there won't be anything left.
So we are at least depleting all of our
Correct,
TIF
absolutely.
funds. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's-
We're depleting everything, because if we did not deplete and we had a surplus, then we would have to give the money, we would, give it back to the county, and the county would disperse it out to the tax and buying.
Okay, so, and the last question is, why are we voting if it's a state statute? Do we have any home rule status over that or
You have-
something?
You do need to adopt an ordinance that formally terminates the TIF district as Taylor explained on December 31st. That then gets filed with the county, and the county then knows that they end what's known as the tax extension for the TIF. The TIF has been capturing all the incremental property taxes generated in that geography for the last 23 years. So, and the county just automatically does that. That ordinance that you will be adopting formally lets the county know that they need to stop that.
So by law, we just have to vote in order to enforce the law, is what you're saying?
Yes, the statute requires you to adopt this ordinance. There's also a notice that'll go out to the taxing jurisdictions by November 1st that lets them know that the city is going to be terminating the downtown TIF.
All right. That's it.
Any more questions?
That's it.
Thank you. Go to our next item. Discussion of bill of sale at 2301 Green Bay Road, Dollar Tree / Jimmy John's.
Yes, this item's related to the new commercial building that was completed at 2301 Green Bay Road. As part of that project, which is again, kind of a phase 2 of the larger project, the first phase being the Starbucks at 2313 next door. They just completed the single story building there that's now occupied by Jimmy John's and Dollar Tree, and then there's a third unit in between. Part of that project included the installation of about 174 linear feet of public water main along the street frontage there. And so before you tonight for discussion is a bill of sale and acceptance of those public improvements there, being that water main, and I believe there's one fire hydrant in that space as well. That's about it.
Any questions? All right, the fourth item, discussion of authorization to dispose of surplus property at Arrington Woods.
Yeah, we've talked about this property at prior committee meeting, but this is the property just off the Dugdale, kind of goes from Dugdale all the way to Kennedy, Arrington out there. We've talked about this is surplus property. It's already been declared surplus by city council in the past. And staff desire to go to the bid method to dispose of this property. So the bid method, to remind you, requires posting on the property, advertising of the property as available for bids. And then at a city council meeting, those bids would be open read out loud to the public. And then those would be taken into consideration should the city desire to accept one of those bids. And so up for discussion is that authorization to go to bid.
Question,
Yes, Alderman Allen.
how many acres is over there?
I believe it's 17.1, if I recall correctly.
17. Okay. Okay, yes, 7, okay, okay, I missed it, okay, thank you. Wow.
Wait, 1 second. We got 17 acres of vacant surplus property in North Chicago. Where's that at?
And right there by,
Is that with a garden?
by the veteran garden.
Yeah.
Do we have, okay. I'm new to this. I didn't start the abatement program, whatever program, the Brighton program. So 17, so we've got 17 acres of property and we just bid it out
That's correct.
to the closest to, well, what somebody
So
says I
we would
bid
put
5,000,
parameters in the
10,000.
advertisement. So the advertisement would, and we've included some kind of draft language here in the staff report, but we would anticipate that this would likely be a planned unit development, that a single purchaser would buy all 17 acres and develop it as a single family or mostly single family subdivision. It's R1 zoning, I believe, out there, which is the single family residential district. So this would not be like parceled out by the city and sold to individual developers or anything like this. This would be sold to a single party who would then develop it as a subdivision.
What you're saying is we're gonna have another apartment complex next to Brook.
No, these are all
No.
So we're
No,
gonna
we would,
put homes on it?
advertise it with certain parameters. So bids would be required to meet those
How
parameters.
much is that property worth?
We're getting an appraisal right now, actually.
And can we put some type of borderline so that someone can't bid $1 for it or $1,000 or something?
Yeah, based
Can
on
we-
the appraisal, we would recommend a minimum dollar.
So whatever the appraisal is, that would be the dollar amount that the bids will start at.
We might just do a lesser amount, maybe 80% of that. But yeah, that's the general
Question
idea.
Question is, when they come back after the appraisal, we're gonna say it's whatever the number is, then that's where they have to start. That's what you're asking, correct?
And is the council gonna be aware of this?
Right, we would make it available, at the next council meeting when we go to pass the final approval.
So like I say, I was just got here. I didn't do the abatement program. What was the name of that program? So I stopped saying that. When we went through all the homes with the surplus and we rebuilt homes on it, the Brighton program you had. Fight the blight. What was it?
Light poster.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is altogether something different. Yeah, this is actually, this is our surplus land and we're looking to, redevelop.
Okay, and when did that fit into the comprehensive plan? Was that in the comprehensive plan?
Yeah.
For the 17 acres to do that?
Yes, because that's,
Well, this area is envisioned in the comprehensive plan as single-family residential, and so it's envisioned for that kind of development. So if we keep holding it, single-family development will not happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it, next council meeting, we'll know how much the land is worth, right?
Hopefully, we'll see.
Well,
We'll see
before
when that
we'll
comes
know how
back.
much the land is worth.
Before we accept any bids, yes, absolutely.
Before we accept any bids, and is that what goes to executive session? We'll be in executive session for that? No, for the
The bids would
bidding?
be
and
opened
something?
in a public
in a
meeting.
public session.
Okay.
let me ask you.
We can't do, if we want to develop this site as residential homes, we don't do it as ourselves. That's not, the city's not a builder. So what we're doing right now is putting the land up for sale.
For somebody.
And for someone to come in and says, hey, I will, accept your bid that you're, offering us. And my plan is to put residential homes in it. And this is how my plan will look. These are the type of homes I'm gonna build, whether they're gonna be, single family or apartments or how, but when they come in to say it, we as a council have the authority to say, yes, we like your plan, or no, we don't want to accept it, and no, you're not going to accept our, we will not accept your bid. But in order to do that, we've got to go out to bid it out. We've got to see how much this land is worth. Whatever developer comes in and says, hey, I'm looking to do this, can you work with me? Because they may come back and says, hey, I can do, 75 single-family homes here, but, I'm gonna have to, I gotta put in infrastructure, I gotta put in roads, I've gotta put in water lines, I've gotta, sewer lines. North Chicago, I can give you, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom homes, but it's gonna cost, for us to do it. Can you work with us? And we might say, okay, this is how much it's worth. We'll give you 80% so that other 20% goes in for your infrastructure.
Right.
But that's how, if we want to see North Chicago continue to move forward, and one of the things I think we need to do from my standpoint, is we no longer can have just starter homes. If we want to continue to see North Chicago grow, we need to have something that's gonna benefit the community. This is a part of the land that I think part of the comprehensive plan talked about to develop as single-family homes. So this is one of the projects that we're starting to move on. If you kind of follow the concept, Alderman.
Yes, I
I
got
could-
it.
Hold on a second, Alderman Murphy.
Yeah, so I'm reviewing, what you put in our presentation, in our packets, and I do want to be clear, and I understand all of this will be subject, obviously, to review by the council before any steps are taken to move forward on it. But it does specify here, some of what you've already carved out as the, requirements. And just based on the size of the parcels and also the fact that it says, in part, majority subdivided parcels with for sale dwellings. The idea here is to focus on property that can be purchased and lived in as opposed to developed as rental property. Am I correct on all of that? Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. The goal here is to really preserve the intent of single-family dwellings being the predominant zoning district for that area. We understand that there may be outside factors or financial factors that may really, when the math comes out, they need some little component of a rental. You know, there are other types of products, housing products out there too, that are look and smell like a single family home, but are rental, you know, kind of thing. And so we don't necessarily want to right off the bat, say no to those. We want to hear them out if they're valid. But yes, the goal here is certainly to prioritize for sale, single family, home ownership.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
And one,
Evidence.
Okay, this property that you're talking about, Taylor.
Yeah.
I know it's over on Dugdale, right by, well, now we call it the Arrington Woods. But that same location, right, a block over, they were just cutting down trees and they was getting ready to make houses over in that section, over by the cemetery. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, going down Dugdale.
Going down Dugdale.
Yeah.
This is the first big parcel
Right.
that's sitting there.
Right.
And they did a little.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
that parcel been sitting there for over 20 years or so, just empty.
Yeah.
Longer than that. Why all of a sudden someone's interested, because from my understanding, that parcel is a flood.
Mm-mm. No, not
Okay,
there.
So it's been,
Uh-uh.
it's.
That
been
big
empty.
field?
That big field.
Uh-uh, it's
where all
not-
those apartments.
Let me take you back a little bit.
Well, can I say this?
Mayor, let him finish.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's not, if it wasn't a flood area or anything, why haven't that apartment complex ever decided to build on that location and just leave it there? It's not making any sense, cause that, I mean, for you to come up here today, cause I know it's somebody out there that said they were trying to build 400 houses in North Chicago. And I'm pretty sure that would be the same company that would get that property.
Oh.
I'm
No,
just saying.
I know.
Just saying, I'm not accusing them of anything, but something just sounds funny, all of a sudden, that property is available and could come up for somebody to bid on it. I mean, everybody see what's going on out here, but there's another lot, just like I said, right behind the church. If you guys ride down that street, they was getting ready to knock the trees and stuff down. They knocked some of them down, but there's nothing there. So, but all of a sudden, this one with the little garden, somebody's looking at it. So that was just my concern.
All right, Mayor?
Okay, Alderman, let me take you back some time. And this is probably in the early 90s.
Okay.
Okay? City of North Chicago at that time was trying to, again, bring additional residential homes into our community. That's when we started a project and we were going to do it in different phases. Okay? Phase one was, what is that, Kennedy right there? Where Marion Jones Court is at?
Right.
That was phase one. Phase two was the homes that are going along,
Circle.
the circle. Those, you had 3 or 4, and then it turned into Arrington that goes up. Though that was phase two.
Okay.
Phase three was actually this development where we're speaking of right now. And each time this was some years ago, as council was trying to put it together, again, bringing in more upscale homes, as we call it. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the many years that I sat here on council is that one of the things that I noticed that our community is short of is we have first-time home buyers, which is great. We have homes that, you know, people come in and starter homes, that sometimes we call them. Even where, you know, whether it's any one of our wards. But as people start to raise their family and grow, they look for 3, 4, maybe even 5-bedroom homes. We don't have that ability. We have scattered, but nothing really available for that. And what happens is a lot of those that are first-time home buyers leave North Chicago to acquire that. They go into surrounding communities because North Chicago, we don't have that to offer them. This was one of our phases that we were going to put additional 4 or 5-bedroom homes into. And then that woods that you said, even larger homes. We wanted to even build larger homes up in that area. So, I mean, we wanted to go into different phases to move up. Now we have an opportunity. You're right. There may be a developer out there. But again, how we approach them, how we tell them, we're not going to accept just a single 1 or 2-bedroom home. If we're wanting to develop, they're going to have to step up their game and put in 3, 4, 5-bedroom homes in that area, because we have control of whatever we tell them to, whatever any developer that come, this council is the ones that's going to dictate how our community moves forward. This is right here. Each one of you sitting in this in your seat is the one that's going to say, no, I can't accept that, or yes, that's going to make North Chicago better and move forward. So you're right. If we put it up for if we do a bid, that developer comes in and we don't have to accept anything. Just because we bidding it doesn't mean we have to accept it. If they don't come in with what we look for, what we expect to have a better community, we say no to it. Move on. Let it sit for another 5, 6 years if that's what happens. Or maybe somebody gets a whim that, hey, somebody's developing in North Chicago. I want to bid on it and I can put even better homes in there. It's how we want to work our community. And this is the council that does it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's go out for, let's see what that property is worth. Let's see what a developer wants to come in. But if it's not to what we want to see as a council, we say no and let it sit. We don't have to move on anything.
That's true.
Alderman Evans.
Yeah, it was nice. You said back in 1990s that this was phase 3. What has to happen is I don't see you building 5-bedroom homes or 4-bedroom homes, and you have all that's mostly apartment complexes around there. I don't see the people paying $300,000 or $400,000 to live on Dugdale Road right there, right in that complex. I'm just saying, if you could go next door and get the same house or whatever, that's fine. Cause we got 4 and 5-bedroom houses.
We do have some
places.
I know, we got a builder right out here that would love to put up.
Right.
Would be a part of that.
Of course.
I'm not gonna say, I see him sitting right there.
We have them.
And if he wants to build a 4 or 5-bedroom home, I hope he be able to do it.
I don't know, you better have some money to buy all that property.
But you know, he could work with the developer to say, hey, I'll help you do it.
Okay.
You never know.
You're right. You're right.
You know?
Yep, you're right.
Don't short our people here in our community, though.
Oh, no, well, hold on. now.
I know you don't.
I
know you don't. So let's see let's see what could come from this. And see how this could work as a team, as a community, as a city to put this together.
Okay.
But this is just the first step of it.
Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Coleman.
All right, we're gonna be a little bit more direct with this. I predicted the fail of Brookstone. And the reason why I predicted the failure of Brookstone was they tore down brick project buildings and they put up wood buildings. In another 10 years, those buildings are gonna be horrible. I also predicted the failure of Brookstone because it was being outsourced by a mega investor, right? Every time we do that, we lose as a city. I will also predict if we move forward with this project as one unit, what's going to happen is we're going to have one developer, and he's not from here. No one has that type of money that lives in North Chicago to buy 17 acres of our undeveloped land and to build 40 houses on it. So these developers are not coming from our community, right? And the reason why mixed income doesn't work is because you can't have, when you do houses, the houses surrounding the area determines what that house value is. It's not that house value. It's called comparative market analysis. And what I have to agree with Mr. Evans is that when you have the outside area, first of all, you've got an undesirable there, which is the graveyard. And then we have sitting in between two projects. We're not going to spend, no one's going to spend $300,000, $400,000 for a 5-bedroom house. Now, if you want to work for some real workable ideas, what we can do is we can break up that parcel of land. Instead of selling it to one developer, is to break that parcel of land up and see if we can work that through council. But giving away a huge piece of land to an outside developer is not going to work. And I want to say this to address Alderman Bobby Allen. I think he does a good job in that ward. He inherited that. When they put those project buildings up and they started bringing tenants in from all over the place, right? It created this problem. And you will never have my support in giving away 17 acres of our property to one developer. It's just not the right thing to do. You're going to have that one developer and they're going to be getting tenants from all over, where whoever wants to buy a house, whoever, and now our alderman, Mr. Bobby Allen, he's going to have a bigger problem than he currently has, because now we're mixing the two together. So I just want to say that mixed income is not going to work over there. It's not. Do you have any other ideas where we can break that property up and make it feasible for investors like Reggie and some of the smaller investors, or do we have to sell big 17 acres at one time?
Selling it at 17 acres is by far the most practical.
Why do you say it's practical? You weren't even here when
It's
they
a
tore the
financial
projects down.
Analysis of it, you have the public infrastructure costs. It's not 17 acres all along the existing street frontage. There's a need to put in public infrastructure into the interior of this site. You wouldn't have, 3-acre long parcels that you could create. So you'd have to put in a road with water main, sewer main, et cetera. And comes at a high cost. And so to make those economics work, you have to have quantity. And so having the large size of this parcel is its advantage.
So basically, we're giving them the land for free and they're developing it. Well, we're giving it to them for a low, well, we're discounting it. I'm sorry.
To that point yet.
Okay. I thought you said 80%.
Throw out the fishing rod. Let's see what we get.
I thought you said
And then you guys
80%.
can come, we're saying that would be the minimum to even submit a bid and have it, be considered. Is we can establish a minimum. So that we would advertise, hey, if you're willing to submit a proposal for this property, it should be at least this dollar figure. So that would be the idea there.
And one more thing, and then I'm done. Have we thought of other options besides any other options like 4 parcels to make it affordable for people? Because I don't want a multi-millionaire becoming a landlord in the city of North Chicago again. That didn't work.
Yeah, I would. Why would you not have the foresight to see that in most communities, when you go to communities around that has subdivisions, the city's not putting that subdivision in. There's a contractor, there's a builder that comes in and says, I want to put in 30, 40, 50 homes. That's how you, like you said, you gotta put in roads, you gotta put in streets, you gotta put in water lines. If you break it up, how do you, we can't afford to do it. You've got to get a builder to come in and do it. I mean, why, what's the word of it? Why you're looking at it such a small thing? That's the problem with North Chicago. We always look at it as a small way. Get a developer to come in. You need, Reggie, can you do the project? All of it?
Yes,
Then, would you bid for it?
yes.
All right, see, right there, you got somebody right there ready to bid for it.
Good.
So, I mean, if Reggie said he can do it,
I bet you Reggie don't get it.
But
yeah.
All right.
I'm
Alderman Allen
sorry.
first.
Go ahead.
Say one thing.
Mike.
your mic.
Number one, I don't know what people in this community got in their pocket. I don't know what they got in their bank account. So don't never sit up here and say what we know what people have. They got. So don't sit there and say that. That's number one. Now we down in our own city. Let's welcome them in. I don't care who it is. And here this man, young man, you think how he felt, him and his wife felt, you say, oh, they can't come out here and can afford that. What? Now he's saying he can't. So we ain't here to decide whether he can or not. We here to put the property up and see where it go from there. That's wrong to sit and say, if you think small, you're gonna be small.
Thank you.
If you think small, that you can't do it, we got a president came in here, somebody said, Obama never make it. He made it, didn't he? So sit here and talk about that, that's wrong. Let's embrace these things and let's go forward with our city. And don't worry about who gets it or whatever. We got an opportunity to vote on this and make it see it come in this community. If you, like I say, if you think small, you're gonna be small. So I think big, because that's why I look at things. So if y'all guys think it's small, because these men, anybody selling this order like here, these people here got plenty of money in their pocket. They just don't want it, they say invest it, where they do what they want to do it. Maybe they have to invest in their bank. That ain't our call. Our call is what can make our city better. Reggie sold some houses in North Chicago for $300,000. People think that they'll be able to sell.
That's right.
I'm just keeping it real with you. $300,000 right there on Greenfield.
Said it never gonna be to North Chicago.
Yeah.
Never, North Chicago never have a house with that.
Right. So if you think, I guess we gotta get that out of our mind, we thinking the wrong way. Focus on what we can do for our community, make it better.
And let me just say also,
Oh,
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but you know, we brought this gentleman in as our economic development director, okay? He's trying to put in what is best for our community. I look at Mundelein, where he came from, and look at the development have you been out there to see all the homes that came around that's out there that he helped to bring in? I mean, those are you wanted an economic development director, at least from my standpoint, I think, that's gonna have the foresight and the mindset to say what is best to make North Chicago grow. That's what we are. You know, the other gentleman, I heard a lot of rumors and I had to accept, and I believe he wasn't going out and had that
Drive.
push, that drive, that ability to say, look, we can make a better community. Taylor's coming in and offering it to us. Now we're the council sitting there going, whoa, no, we can't do it. We can't
know
do
what?
it. We can't do it.
But didn't nobody say that? See,
Wait. Let him.
oh,
So, I mean,
go ahead and finish.
again, we don't have to do anything. We're just going out to see it, test the waters. Reggie comes in with a good price. We say, Reggie, and we'll work with you. Maybe we'll give it to you for 75%. If you can put the, you know, who knows? We don't know what this project can bring. I mean, why hold us back?
Alderman Evans.
First of all, ain't nobody talking about nobody's pocket. Here's the thing. You just built a project over there on 14th Street. 14th Street, and you brand new project, still ain't together. So don't talk about as if something's
We
standing.
didn't have our hand in it.
Mayor.
You did have your hand in it because everything came through the city. We had to, everything they did had to come through the city, and it's still not right. And all you got over there on 14th Street is constantly, you gotta block the roads off. You got this thing going on. The man just said, you got all these different problems right there on 14th and Dugdale. Brand new project. Didn't nobody say don't build there. You build there, look what happens. All we saying is, you talking about building these brand new homes, great. But you're gonna put the brand new homes between a project that's already shooting up everywhere? And then who gonna buy some homes like that? Who wants to live next door to people that's shooting in the area?
Did you
It's
sell a
just
$300,000 home? Where'd you sell it at?
He got a nice
Greenfield.
home, yes.
Greenfield. And that, and
Greenfield
that's.
is-
Mayor,
that's-
Mayor, let him finish, please.
He got it, he built a nice home and several homes in a nice area. Yes, and I will give him that credit. But right now, when you talk about a major contractor coming in, you right there on 14th Street, everybody, oh, it's gonna be great, gonna be brand new townhomes. It's gonna be lovely senior citizen. Look what you got. You got brand new stuff over there, and it's not worth it. You got people that's over there. The young lady just came here tonight. You got other people that's complaining about that place. Now you gotta go over there and try to pray for the folks every little month. Gotta go there and pray for them, help them out. Good Lord. I mean, the reality is the reality. I'm not saying I'm not saying a developer shouldn't come in and spend their money in our city. Yes. I mean, but look at the reality of it. You gonna put a $400,000 house or $300,000 home right between a place that you cannot even, that's not even secure. A place that's always, you got the police gotta constantly go over there. You got something always going over there happening. But it's a brand new construction. Hey, if the people wanna buy those homes, that's fine. But I don't believe you gonna sell those homes. And as Alderman Coleman said, you can build those homes all you want to. The people that has the money to purchase those homes may not have a desire to live next door to somebody that's shooting all the time, or somebody that's got the desire to bring something down. I mean, that's the only thing we're saying, but we're not talking about nobody's money. I mean, I don't know how anybody can sit up here like we just dictating on what somebody bringing in. That's their business. I'm not counting nobody's money. I'm telling you about the homes out here.
Alderman Murphy.
That's okay.
All right, Chief.
You know my wife, so I don't have any money. I'll just let you know right now. The story that's going to be told is if a developer comes and looks, because developer's not going to invest if he doesn't think he's going to sell them. So a developer's going to look at the demographics in the surrounding areas, absolutely. So that'll be the telltale on everything, is when you look and put it out there, and if a developer believes he can sell in that location and in this market. It may not go any place, to the mayor's point, but it's worth testing the waters. It's worth turning around and seeing what options are available out there. Comprehensive plan says to do it. Part of it was also, and I'll have to say, when I first got here, I looked at that property because Growing Healthy Veterans had space there. And they said, you can't build here. And I had the engineers go out and look and say, can we build there? And the engineer says, yeah, you're fine. You can build there. So that was the question. And then it was, what happened to the property and why didn't this ever get developed? And the mayor explained to me the same thing he described to the council tonight. The proof in the pudding is going to be, once this goes out to bid, if a developer comes back and says, yeah, I can make something of it. And I can sell it. If he turns around and says, because of issues in the area, infrastructure, I'm not going to be able to get the selling price for a 3-bedroom that I would want in order to break even, that'll be the tail on it, in all honesty.
Mr. Chair.
To Greg's point, we actually are the decision maker. I just want to remind everybody of that. So there will be information brought to us that we can review, assess, discuss, and then say, this is a non-starter. I don't like the way it smells. And if enough of us say that, then whatever does get brought to us, if it's not acceptable, it won't go forward. On the other hand, if it is acceptable, we might have a path to some development of that property that would in fact benefit the city. That's gonna be in our hands. And it will be up to us. The one guarantee that that property isn't gonna get developed is if we just basically sit and do nothing. I can't speak to the past 20 years. I've lived in the city for 24, but I wasn't involved when all the rest of what was just discussed went down. And we can't look backwards anyway. We've got to start from now. So I know for a fact it isn't going to get developed if we don't at least try to do something. And Taylor, my question to you would be, in terms of, and I mean this really roughly, because I know much of it is going to be actual staff time or whatever, to put together initially the parameters and put this out to bid in whatever the proper procedure is, publication, what have you. Roughly, what will this cost the city? This initial stage, what will this cost the city?
Accounting for staff time, $1,000.
Okay, does anybody think it's not worth spending $1,000 to at least find out what kind of response or what kind of interest we will be shown, the city will be shown? Because believe me, if a developer, once again, to Greg's point, thinks that he or she can't come in, build homes and sell them for what they need to sell them for to make a profit, because they're for profit, which is not a bad thing, then they won't bite. Or if they bite and they really think, well, they won't even bite and try to undercut us. It's not gonna matter, because they're gonna be the ones sitting on homes they can't sell. This idea that they're gonna try to get over on the city is ridiculous, because the city isn't gonna own those homes. The developer is gonna be holding those homes. If they can't sell them, they're stuck. So I really think that for $1,000, let's call it investment, this is at least worth pursuing to see what kind of interest we get. And if it's dead in the water, then it's dead in the water, and we'll move on to something else. I think deciding to do nothing is probably not in the city's best interest. That's all I want to say. Thank you, Alderman Smith.
Alderman Coleman.
What Alderman Murphy was saying, maybe you took this the wrong way. I'm not saying don't do nothing. I'm saying let's keep thinking. Let's figure it out. I'm not saying let's just sit back on our hands and let the property grow trees. I'm just saying let's think this, and if it only costs $1,000 for that idea, why don't we come up with another idea for another $1,000? If that's all that it takes. So I'm not saying like don't do nothing. I just know that this is the way I normally see it work. Maybe it doesn't work like this, but most of the time they come back with the price, and they might say, "Oh, it's $1 million," and then they come back and say, "Oh, we need to build this infrastructure and this infrastructure. Can the city give it to us for $500,000?" And then they come back to us and say, "Well, you know what? We had to build this extra pipe in there, so that's another $100,000." Matter of fact, why don't you just give us $300,000 from the city? And we end up giving these people money at the end of the day, where it just started off as, oh, we just testing the waters. And then once we testing the waters, we get invested into the project. And then that's when the property value keeps going down and down and down, because they got to do more and more work. And before you know it, they will come to us and ask us, like they did over there with borrowing money from the city. Hey, we need this amount of money to finish the project. And we've gotten ourselves into trouble like this, like testing the waters. And at the end of the day, you know, it's been on the council floor for so long. It's like, well, we don't want to say no, so we're just going to agree with kind of what they want us to do, if that was the best I can put it. That's the issue that I have, is we're opening up Pandora's box for one idea, which is residential homes. So maybe we can come up with maybe a different idea. Does that one developer, will he come in and just say 5 units versus 3 units versus 1 bedroom? Will he give us different, Or will he come in and say, I'm doing 5 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms?
So it could be a couple different scenarios. It could be one developer proposing to do all of the development themselves. Say, we're gonna be the subdivider and developer, we're gonna do it all. It could be someone that comes in and says, we're gonna be the master developer, we're gonna put in the road infrastructure, subdivide it, and then we're gonna utilize additional firms to do different parts of the development. And so there could be any number of combinations there. One thing that we can also do as part of the advertisement of the bids is stipulate a certain percentage of bedrooms, unit homes. So we could stipulate in the advertisement, minimum of X number need to be 3-bedroom homes or something along those lines. So that is an option.
I guess the opposite of that option. I think we're getting there. What I'm saying is they are the professionals, right? So they know what is going to sell, what's their realtors, trust me, they know the market, right? So they might come in and say, okay, we want to build, we don't want to give them the stipulation and saying, hey, we only want 5 or 4 bedroom homes. Because then they'll say, no, we don't want to do 5 because it doesn't fit our market. But if we kind of come to them with the open book and say, here's the property, what is your idea to do with the property? And maybe that'll give us some more brain juices thinking from outside the council, is letting the developers get in there and say, well, what is the best, the best homes to build? Is it 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, to go that way and let the developer put some input in? Would that be a way that we could do it, where we get the developers to help us decide how many bedrooms we need to build in these homes?
Yeah, that's absolutely something that can be done. If that's the direction that this council wants to go, we can make it a more generalized kind of advertisement for the property.
Okay.
Where it's less tailored for a certain type and model of development and more open-ended, if you will. I would, my staff recommendation would be that we, if that was the route, that it still have a minimum level of stipulating about single family for sale as at least a certain percentage of the development, because that does seem to be a unified goal of this council.
I think that would be kind of like going to the doctor, telling them what kind of medicine you need, or going to, when it comes to real estate council and council women and council men, neither one of us are professionals in here. So I think sometimes we need to call in the professionals for a little bit of help. And I do know the developers, and I would have to agree, $1,000 is not bad if they're coming in and they're giving us advice and they're giving us help. But if we give them the floor plan, it's like going to the mechanic shop and telling them what's wrong with your car instead of just saying, fix my car. If you tell them what's wrong, then that's what they're going to do. But if you say, fix my car, then they're going to diagnose the problem. So I think that if we're going to spend $1,000 to get our buck worth, that we leave it open for them so that they can give us some recommendations, right? And then that's my only thing, is that we leave it open. So at least we get our bang for our buck for $1,000.
All right. So I just want to say thanks for everyone's input, good information from everybody, and I want to put my input. I think it's time for our city to grow. We spent time and waited on this comprehensive plan to make our city better. We definitely need to fix Brookstone, fix that problem over there, but I think it would be a good thing, growing our city, thinking outside of the box. And as our mayor said, when Junebug has another kid, now they need another bedroom, they leave North Chicago and go somewhere else, as opposed to having 4 or 5 bedrooms here available to keep our citizens here in North Chicago. It's like fishing. It's got to have the right bait to catch the fish that you want, and to catch the people that we want to spend their money in North Chicago. We have to give them what they want. Yes, we have some work to do. We have some improvements to do, and throughout the city, including over in Brookstone. I think it's important that we get the information and we allow them to say, hey, this is what we want. Can you do what we want? And because going back to, and just keeping it 100, our store, we were desperate, so we accepted what Junebug offered us. June was like, I can't do, I need you to help me some more. So we said, okay, because we were desperate. We're not desperate to sell the land. So therefore we can set the parameters of what we want. And then they can say yes or no. And then when they say no, then we can say, okay, next. So I'm just saying, let's not be rushing to things and make things happen because we don't have to. We own it. We can say, this is what we want. And if you can meet our desires of what we want, then we can do some business together. We don't have to take less for what we want. We don't have to just compromise. We don't have to do that for this land. We don't have to do, we're a hot commodity right now. Number 2 in the state of Illinois for growing a business. We don't have to compromise. People are going to want to come to us. They're wanting to come to us. So it's up to us to set our parameters, our guideline of what we want to do in our city. Any more questions for our Taylor? Thank you, Taylor. Great job.
Didn't sound like it did. It didn't sound like it.
I'd like to get a motion to close economic. I would like to get a motion to close Economic Development and Planning Committee. Second by Alderman Allen. Moved by Alderman Allen. Second by Alderman Murphy. Roll call.
Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy.
Aye.
Right. I think I'm on Public Works. or
Hmm?
Safety.
Public safety.
Public safety. So. Anybody got any questions before I even open this up on the police or the fire?
I have no question.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask the chief a question? Chief, can I get an update on,
Then we have to call
Oh.
the meeting to order.
okay, I'm sorry.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Alderman Jackson, Alderman Coleman, Alderman Evans, Alderman Allen.
Here.
Alderman Smith,
Aye.
Alderman Murphy, Alderman January.
Okay. Fire department, let's open up both of them. Chief, you got anything to report on fire department? No, just, since we
Please,
going through it.
Chief of Police.
Okay, chief. Police report can come up, chief.
Yes, sir.
As much as you can you give our citizens a little update on our activity of what we found at the house?
No more than what we've already released on a press
In case they
release.
don't know.
We responded to a resident in the 400 block of, somebody help me, I forgot the name of the street. Christian. For a gentleman who had been shot, upon entering the house, we encountered a large, amount of narcotics. That investigation is still ongoing. I will not go into it.
Okay. And the reason, thank you. And the reason I want our citizens to know, in case you didn't get to see it on Facebook or in some news, it's important to know that our police department working together to bring our crime down, and we are on top of it. And I just want the citizens that may not know to know that things are happening in North Chicago. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Alderman.
how much was that valued at?
And Alderman, all respect, I will not comment on.
Okay, the reason why I asked that is I know a certain percentage of the funding comes back to the city through a fund, right, Mr. Mayor?
No, it does not. It is drugs is not money, so nothing comes back to the city.
Only when we find money does it come back to the city.
Correct.
Gotcha. Maybe.
Yeah, we can't mean, you know,
know,
we can't sell the merchandise just to make our budget goals, you know what I'm saying?
Acres we gotta buy.
I mean, you know, like out here, I'm just an average guy. In prison, I'd be pretty, so we're not going there. Thank you.
He thought about what you said. All right. Could I get a motion to close the Public Safety Committee meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Evans, second by Alderman Smith. Roll call.
Alderman Coleman,
Aye.
Alderman Evans.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Aye.
I'd like to open up the Finance/Audit Committee meeting. Roll call.
Alderman Jackson, Alderman Coleman,
Aye.
Alderman Evans,
Here.
Alderman Allen,
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Present.
Alderman Murphy.
Present.
Alderman January.
All right. Item one, discussion of monthly budget report. Any questions on that? Discuss the treasury report, August 2024. Any questions? Okay. Discussion of annual treasury report. Any questions on that one? Good, good. Number four, discussion consider of a contract with reviving a website design and development not to exceed the amount of $28,900.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor, members of the council, bring before you, this was touched on last week in the mayor's comments about activities happening within the departments. Earlier this year, the city of North Chicago sought the service of a qualified contractor who had considerable ability on the areas of web design, graphic design, content management, and project management to redesign the city's website. The RFP timeline went as follows. On July 1st, 2024, an RFP was advertised in the Daily Herald newspaper and posted on the city's website. On August 2nd, at the close of business, sealed proposals were due. On the 5th, the sealed responses were opened in the council chambers by myself, Ombre Darby, and Tawanda Joyner. On the 30th, 4 firms were invited to make presentations to the city's evaluation team. There were a total of 12 firms that responded to the proposal. 3 of those firms were disqualified because they didn't submit sealed proposals. I'm sorry, 2 of them because of sealed proposals, 1 of them because they were 3 days late. The 4 firms that were identified to move forward were Catalyst, Civic Plus, Revise, and Webinex. The 4 firms were selected based on cost and their ability to best meet the specified design functionality. I provided for the council a list of the evaluation team, which included myself, our IT coordinator, comptroller Joyner, fire chief Umek, police chief Perez, assistant chief Lund, Ombre Darby, public works superintendent Tommy Johnson, and the permitting office manager Stephanie Rivera. After reviewing those presentations, which they made to the evaluation team, looking at the dollars for not only the first year, but over 5 years, it's the recommendation of the evaluation team to move forward with Revise. Revise has done a considerable amount of business in the Chicago area, including some of our neighboring suburbs. We're going to be able to do more with this website than we were able to do with the current one. We're going to be able to do agendas. We're going to be able to have a FOIA portal. We're going to be able to have more interaction with the public. It is our hope to keep the public from having to make frequent trips to City Hall when they can do things online. The good thing about Revise that none of the other competitors could bring to the table is that they have a direct working relationship with BS&A, which does our finance software. None of the other companies had that had that kind of relationship, but this company is based up in Michigan, and that's also where BS&A is, and they're linked together in a pretty good cooperative relationship. So we're asking the council to allow us to, the committee to allow us to move this forward to the council for approval. And then we'll begin the rollout of, or begin the work on the various phases of the website. This also comes concurrently with our rebranding efforts. So it's, the timing couldn't have been better.
Any questions? Okay, put it on.
Thank you.
All right. I get a motion to close the finance/audit report.
So move.
Moved by Alderman Smith.
Second.
Second by Alderman Murphy. Roll call.
Sorry. Alderman Coleman. Alderman Evans. Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Smith.
Aye.
Alderman Murphy. Okay.
Have a good night. Good week.